Donetsk ETSK, Ukrainian, romanized, Donetsk, Russian, formerly known as Aleksandrovka, Yuzivka, Stalin and Stalino, is an industrial city in eastern Ukraine located on the Kalmius River in Donetsk Oblast. The population was estimated at 901,645 in the city core, with over 2 million in the metropolitan area. According to the 2001 census, Donetsk was the fifth largest city in Ukraine. Administratively, Donetsk has been the center of Donetsk Oblast, while historically, it is the unofficial capital and largest city of the larger economic and cultural Donetsk Basin region. Donetsk is adjacent to another major city, Yuzivka, and along with other surrounding cities forms a major urban sprawl and conurbation in the region. Donetsk has been a major economic, industrial, and scientific center of Ukraine with a high concentration of heavy industries and a skilled workforce. The density of heavy industries determined the city's challenging ecological situation. In 2012, a UN report ranked Donetsk among the world's fastest depopulating cities. The original settlement in the south of the European part of the Russian Empire was first mentioned as Aleksandrovka in 1779, during the reign of the Empress Catherine the Great. In 1869, the Welsh businessman John Hughes founded a steel plant and several coal mines in the region, and the town was named Yuzivka or Yuzovka in recognition of his role. During Soviet times, the city's steel industry expanded. In 1924, Yuzovka was renamed Stalin. In 1929, Stalin was renamed Stalino, and in 1932, the city became the center of the Donetsk region. Renamed Donetsk in 1961, the city today remains a center for coal mining and for the steel industry. Since April 2014, Donetsk and its surrounding areas have been one of the major sites of fighting in the ongoing Russo-Ukrainian War, as pro-Russian separatist forces battle against Ukrainian military forces for control of the city and surrounding areas. Throughout the war, the city of Donetsk has been administered by the pro-Russian separatist forces as the center of the Donetsk People's Republic, with outlying territories of the Donetsk region divided between the two sides. Donetsk International Airport became the epicenter of the war in 2014 with almost a year-long battle. As of October 2022, Russia has full control of the city, with Ukrainian and Russian forces still engaging in combat touching the city. History. Foundation. One of the early mining settlements in the territory of Donetsk was Aleksandrovka. The existence of Aleksandrovskaya Cossack Sloboda in its place is attested by 1779, with the Aleksandrovsky coal mine eventually being opened there. The city of Donetsk was founded in 1869 by Welsh businessman John Hughes, who operated a steel plant and several coal mines at Aleksandrovka. The workers' settlement at the plant merged with Aleksandrovka and the place was named Yuzovo, later Yuzovka, after Hughes. In its early period, it received immigrants from Wales, especially from the town of Merthyr. By the beginning of the 20th century, Yuzovka had approximately 50,000 inhabitants, and attained the status of a city in 1917. The main district of Yuzovka is named English Colony, and the British origin of the city is reflected in its layout and architecture. Soviet Union. When the Russian Civil War broke out, Yuzovka was part of the Donetsk Krivoy Rog Soviet Republic from its declaration of independence on February 12, 1918. The republic was disbanded at the Second All-Ukrainian Congress of Soviets on March 20, 1918, when the independence of the Ukrainian Soviet Republic was declared. It failed to achieve recognition, either internationally or by the Russian SFSR, and was abolished under the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk. In 1924, under Soviet rule, the city's name was changed to Stalin. In that year, the city's population totaled 63,708, and in the next year, 80,085. In 1929–31 the city's name was changed to Stalino. The city did not have a drinking water system until 1931, when a 55.3 km system was laid underground. In July 1933, the city became the administrative center of the Donetsk Oblast of the Ukrainian SSR. In 1933, the first 12 km sewer system was installed, and the use of gas began the next year. Some sources state that the city was briefly called Trotsk after Leon Trotsky for a few months in late 1923. At the start of World War II, the population of Stalino was 507,000. After the war, the population was 175,000. The invasion by Nazi Germany almost completely destroyed the city. It was occupied by German and Italian forces as part of the Reichskommissariat Ukraine between October 16, 1941 and September 5, 1943. It was mostly rebuilt on a large scale after the war. In 1945, young men and women aged 17 to 35, from the Danube Swabian communities of Yugoslavia, Hungary, and Romania, were forcibly sent to Russia as Allied war reparations, being put to work as slave labor to rebuild Stalino and to work in its mines. The conditions were so poor that many died from disease and malnutrition. During Nikita Khrushchev's second wave of de-Stalinization in November 1961, the city was renamed Donetsk, after the Seversky Donetsk River, a tributary of the Don, in order to distance it from the former leader Joseph Stalin. In 1965, the Donetsk Academy of Sciences was established as part of the Academy of Sciences of the Ukrainian SSR. Independent Ukraine. After the declaration of independence made by the Ukrainian Parliament on August 24, 1991, the 1991 Ukrainian independence referendum was held on December 1, 1991. In this referendum 83.90% of Donetsk's voters voted in favor of independence. After experiencing a tough time in the 1990s, when it was the center of gang wars for control over industrial enterprises, Donetsk modernized quickly, largely under the influence of big companies. In 1994 a consultative referendum was held in Donetsk Oblast and Luhansk Oblast, with around 90% supporting recognition of Russian as an official language alongside Ukrainian, and for Russian to be an official language on a regional level. In the 1990s and the 2000s, hundreds were killed in coal mine collapses in Donetsk and the region. These included the 2008 Ukraine coal mine collapse, the 2007 Zayzhyadko mine disaster, and the 2015 Zayzhyadko mine disaster. Ukraine has had many mining accidents since the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991, with one reason cited as the linking of miners' pay to production, which is an incentive to ignore safety procedures that slow production. In a summit in Moscow in 2008, Donetsk was recognized as the best city in the Commonwealth of Independent States for its implemented development strategies. In 2012 and 2013 Donetsk was recognized as the best place for business in Ukraine. Whilst getting praise for its business potential in 2009, Donetsk also received criticism for the strong mafia connection of its growing oligarchy, and for an increasing poverty rate. Some analysts warned of a long-term collapse of the Donetsk economy, and that it could share Detroit's gloomy fate, due to its failure to combat crime and poverty. Donetsk People's Republic and Russia. After President Yanukovych fled Ukraine to seek asylum in Russia, Russian-backed separatists took over the Oblast State Administration, the main government building, in Donetsk. The police did not offer resistance. Later in the week the authorities of Donetsk disallowed a referendum on the status of the region and the police retook the Donetsk OSA building. Donetsk became one of the centers of the 2014 pro-Russian conflict in Ukraine. On April 7, 2014, pro-Russian activists seized control of Donetsk OSA and declared the Donetsk People's Republic, asking for Russian intervention. On May 11, 2014, a Donetsk status referendum, 2014 was held in Donetsk in which voters could choose political independence. It was stated by the head of the self-proclaimed Donetsk People's Republic Election Commission, Roman Lyagin, that almost 90% of those who voted in the Donetsk region endorsed political independence from Kyiv. Ukraine does not recognize the referendum, while the EU and US stated that the polls were illegal. Heavy shelling by the Ukrainian army and paramilitary units have caused civilian fatalities in Donetsk. Human Rights Watch has called on both warring factions to cease using the unguided BM-21 Grad missiles in populated areas, and has said the use of these weapons systems was a violation of international humanitarian laws and could constitute a war crime. It also called on the insurgents to avoid their deployment in densely populated areas. The 2015 IIHF World Championship Division I, Group A was scheduled for 18 to April 24, 2015 in Donetsk, but Ukraine withdrew as hosts due to the ongoing conflict in the country. Instead of Donetsk, the tournament was organized in Krakow, Poland. Eventually, Ukraine co-organized 2017 IIHF World Championship Division I, again Group A, but in its capital, Kyiv. On September 30, 2022, Putin signed a decree claiming to annex 4 regions, including Donetsk, as part of Russia. This annexation has been seen by the global community as a breach of international law. Geography. Donetsk lies in the steppe landscape, surrounded by scattered woodland, hills, spoil tips, rivers, and lakes. The northern outskirts are mainly used for agriculture. The Kalmius River links the city with the Sea of Azov, which is 95 kilometers to the south, and a popular recreational area for those living in Donetsk. A wide belt of farmlands surrounds the city. The city stretches 28 kilometers from north to south and 55 kilometers from east to west. There are 2 nearby reservoirs, Nizhny Kalmius, and the Donetsk Sea. 5 rivers flow through the city, including the Kalmius, Asmolivka, Cherepashkina, Skomoroshka, and Bakhmutka. The city also contains a total of 125 spoil tips. Climate. Donetsk's climate is moderate warm summer continental. The average temperatures are 4.1 degrees C in January and 21.6 degrees Celsius in July. The average number of rainfall per year totals 162 days and up to 556 mm per year. Government and administrative divisions. Since April 7, 2014, Donetsk is de facto governed by the Donetsk People's Republic as its capital city. The Donetsk People's Republic is not recognized internationally, and all UN member states recognize the city as Ukrainian. South Ossetia, another state with limited recognition, recognizes the Donetsk People's Republic as a sovereign entity and Donetsk as its capital. The territory of Donetsk is divided into 9 administrative rayons, whose local government is administered by rayon councils, which are subordinate to the Donetsk City Council. Demographics. See article, Russians in Ukraine. Donetsk had a population of over 985,000 inhabitants in 2009 and over 1,566,000 inhabitants in the metropolitan area in 2004. It was the 5th largest city in Ukraine. According to the 2001 census, the Donetsk Oblast is inhabited by members of more than 130 ethnic groups. The Ukrainian ethnicity is 56.9% of the population, the Russian ethnicity is 38.2% of the population. The native language of 74.9% of the population of the Donetsk region is Russian, compared with 24.1% Ukrainian. 58.7% of people of Ukrainian ethnicity considered Russian to be their native language. In 1989 there were no Ukrainian language schools in Donetsk. The structure of the Donetsk city municipality by ethnicity in 2001 is as follows. Total, 1,024,678 people, 100.00%. In 1991 one-third of the population identified as Russian, one-third as Ukrainian, while the majority of the rest declared themselves Slavs. Smaller minorities include in particular ethnic groups from the South Caucasus and Northeast Anatolia region, including Armenians, Azerbaijanis, Georgians, and Pontic Greeks. Native language of the population of the city of Donetsk as of the Ukrainian census of 2001. Russian 87.8%. Ukrainian 11.1%. Armenian 0.1%. Belarusian 0.1%. Economy. Donetsk and the surrounding territories are heavily urbanized and agglomerated into conurbation. The workforce is heavily involved with heavy industry, especially coal mining. The city is an important center of heavy industry and coal mines in the Donetsk basin. Directly under the city lie coal mines, which have recently seen an increase in mining accidents, the most recent accident being at the Zayzhiadko mine, which killed over 100 workers. Donetsk's economy consists of about 200 industrial organizations that have a total production output of more than 120 billion rubles per year and more than 20,000 medium-small-sized organizations. The city's coal mining industry comprises 17 coal mines and 2 concentrating mills. The metallurgy industry comprises 5 large metallurgical plants located throughout the city. The engineering market comprises 67 organizations, and the food industry 32 organizations. After the fall of the Soviet Union, Donetsk and other neighboring cities of the Donbass suffered heavily, as many factories were closed down and many inhabitants lost their jobs. About 412,000 square meters of living space, 7.9 kilometers of gas networks, and 15.1 kilometers of water supply networks were constructed in the city during 1998-2001. The city also houses the Donetsk Special Economic Zone. Donetsk currently has 9 sister cities. The German city of Magdeburg had economic partnerships with Donetsk during 1962-1996. In 2012, Donetsk was rated the best city for business in Ukraine by Forbes. Donetsk topped the rating in 5 indicators: human capital, the purchasing power of citizens, investment situation, economic stability, as well as infrastructure and comfort. The shopping areas in the city include the enclosed shopping mall Donetsk City. Sports. Donetsk is a large sports center, has a developed infrastructure, and has repeatedly held international competitions: Davis Cup, UEFA Champions League. Representatives of the city are state leaders sports such as football, hockey, basketball, boxing, tennis, athletics, and others. The most popular sport in Donetsk is football. Donetsk is home to 2 major professional football clubs, Shakhtar Donetsk, which played at the Donbass Arena prior to 2014 but now plays at NSC Olimpiyskiy, and FC Olympic Donetsk, which currently plays in Chernihiv Stadium. Until 2021, both played in the Ukraine Premier League, but in 2021, Olympic was relegated to the Ukrainian First League. Shakhtar Donetsk won the Ukrainian Championship and Ukrainian Cup multiple times, and in 2009 they became the second team from Ukraine to win a European competition, the UEFA Cup. Donetsk was also home to the women's football club WFC Donetsk, one of the most successful clubs in the history of the Ukrainian Women's League, but it ceased operations in 2014. Donetsk is home to the football stadium Donbass Arena, which was opened in 2009. It became the first stadium in Eastern Europe designed and constructed according to the UEFA standards for stadiums of elite category. When the joint bid for the UEFA Euro 2012 was won by Poland and Ukraine, Donetsk's Donbass Arena was chosen as the location for 3 Group D matches, 1 quarter-final match, and 1 semi-final match. The RSK Olympijski Stadium was chosen as a reserve stadium. Donetsk, together with the nearby Mariupol, were the host towns of the 2009 UEFA European Under-19 Championship. The stadiums hosting the event on behalf of Donetsk were RSC Olimpijski and the Metallurh Stadium. Donetsk is home to the ice hockey club HC Donbass, playing at the Druzhba Arena since 2011, which won the 2011 Ukrainian Hockey Championship, and which is the only elite-level team in the country. After playing a single season in the Russian Major League, the club upgraded its arena to Continental Hockey League regulations, and joined the league in 2012. When moving to the KHL, the club created a local farm club to play in the Ukrainian Championship under the name HC Donbass 2, which won the 2012 and 2013 national titles. In 2013, Donetsk was hosting the 2012-13 IIHF Continental Cup Ice Hockey Super Final, which HC Donbass won, and the 2013 IIHF World Championship Division I Group B, where Ukraine finished first and earned promotion to Group A. After the team resumed operations in 2015, it withdrew from the KHL, ultimately ending up in the Ukrainian Hockey League, where it has won 4 of the last 5 championships. Donetsk was also home to the basketball club BC Donetsk, which played in the Ukrainian Basketball Super League, and won the 2012 champion title. The club played at the Druzhba Arena, and Donetsk had been chosen as one of the 6 Ukrainian cities to host the FIBA Eurobasket 2015. However, the club discontinued play after 2014 due to the ongoing war, and the 2015 FIBA tournament had to be moved out of the country. The city used to be the home of few notable at the time yet now defunct clubs. The MFC Shakhtar Donetsk club won the Ukrainian Futsal Championship 5 times, but was dissolved in January 2011 midway through the season due to financial problems. One of the top Soviet volleyball teams at the time, VC Shakhtar Donetsk, who were the last team to win the Soviet Volleyball Championship, in 1992. The team also won the first 2 championships in the Independent Ukraine League, in 1992 and 1993, and won the Ukraine Cup in 1993, but after having financial issues, the club was relegated in 1997, and after 1 season in the second tier it was shut down. Donetsk hosted the USSR Tennis Championship in 1978, 1979, and 1980, and hosted some tennis matches of the 2005 Davis Cup. Donetsk was home to the Alexander Kolyaskin Memorial, which was held between 2002-2008 and part of the ATP Challenger Series, and Donetsk is the home of the female V-Court Cup, which is classified as an ITF women's circuit and started in 2012. Donetsk was always an important athletics center, and hosted various events. Donetsk was one of the host towns for the 1978 and 1980 Soviet Athletics Championships, and was the sole host town of the event in 1984. Donetsk also hosted the 1977 European Athletics Junior Championships. The stadium used for those athletics events was the RSC Olimpijski. Among the different track and field sports, Donetsk especially has a big name in pole vaulting. Serhiy Bubka, regarded by many as the greatest pole vaulter in history, grew up in the city, and also started in 1992 an annual pole vaulting event in Donetsk, called Pole Vault Stars. Bubka himself set the world indoor record at the event 3 times. His indoor world pole vault record of 6.15 m, set in the Donetsk Olympic Stadium on February 21, 1993, was not broken until 2014. The Russian female pole vaulter Yelena Isinbayeva set a new world record at the event every year between 2004 and 2009. The 2015 IIHF World Championship Division I ice hockey tournament had been scheduled for 18 to April 24, 2015 in Donetsk but was later moved to Krakow, Poland due to the ongoing war. Professional sports teams. The following is a list of existing professional sports teams, and notable defunct clubs. None of the clubs currently play in the city due to the Russo-Ukrainian War. Culture. Attractions. First Line Avenue. Statue of Artyom. Donetsk Opera and Ballet Theatre. Donbass Palace. Pushkin Boulevard. Monument to John Hughes. Forged Figures Park. Aqua Park. Architecture. Donetsk, at the time Yuzivka, was divided into two parts, north and south. In the southern part were the city's factories, railway stations, telegraph buildings, hospitals, and schools. Not far from the factories was the English colony where the engineers and the management lived. After the construction of the residence of John Hughes and the various complexes for the foreign workers, the city's southern portion was constructed mainly in the English style. These buildings used rectangular and triangular-shaped facades, green rooftops, large windows, which occupied a large portion of the building, and balconies. In this part of the town, the streets were large and had pavements. A major influence on the formation of architecture in Donetsk was the official architect of a Novorossiya company molding Auer. Preserved buildings of the southern part of Yuzivka consisted of the residences of John Hughes, Balfour, and Boss. In the northern part of Yuzivka, Novyi Svet, lived traders, craftsmen, and bureaucrats. Here were located the market hall, the police headquarters and the Cathedral of the Transfiguration of Jesus. The central street of Novyi Svet and the neighboring streets were mainly edged by one- or two-story residential buildings, as well as markets, restaurants, hotels, offices, and banks. A famous preserved building in the northern part of Yuzivka was the Hotel Great Britain. The first general plan of Stalino was made in 1932 in Odessa by the architect P. Golovchenko. In 1937, the project was partly reworked. These projects were the first in the city's construction bureau's history. A large portion of the city's buildings from the second half of the 20th century were designed by the architect Pavel Victor Gauss, which was given the Government Award of the USSR for architecture in the city of Donetsk in 1978. Religion. Donetsk's residents belong to religious traditions including the Eastern Orthodox Church, Eastern Catholic Churches, Protestantism, and the Roman Catholic Church, as well as Islam and Judaism. The religious body with the most members is the Ukrainian Orthodox Church and Ukrainian Orthodox Church of the Kievan Patriarchate. In 2014, a leaflet carrying the signature of the chairman of Donetsk's temporary government Denis Pushilin was distributed to Jews on the festival of Passover. The leaflet asked Donetsk's Jewish citizens to register themselves, their property, and their families to the pro-Russian authorities. The leaflet claimed that failure to comply with its demands would result in the revocation of citizenship and confiscation of property. The leaflet prompted confusion and fear among Donetsk's Jewish population, who saw echoes of the Holocaust in the leaflet. Pushilin denied any connection with the leaflets and called them a provocation. Media. 5 television stations operate within Donetsk. TRK Ukraina. KRT, Kyivisk Rus. First Municipal. Canal 27. TRK Donbass in Donetsk, there is the 360-meter-tall TV tower, one of the tallest structures in the city, completed in 1992. Notable people. The citizens of Donetsk are commonly called Donchiani. The following is a list of famous people who were born or brought up in the city. Rinat Akhmatov, a Ukrainian billionaire businessman. Emma Andijewska, a modern Ukrainian poet, writer, and painter. Alexander Anaprenko, professor of computer engineering in Donetsk. Zalman Aaron, a Zionist activist, educator, and Israeli government minister. Sarai Arbuzov, head of Ukrainian Bank, 2010 to 2012. Mykola Azarov, Prime Minister of Ukraine, 2010 to 2014. Fyodor Berezin, a Russian science fiction writer and active supporter of the Donetsk People's Republic. Volodymyr Bielitsky, a Ukrainian mining engineer and scientist. Viktor Berduk, artist and blacksmith. Vera Filatova, a Ukrainian-British actress. Anatoly Fomenko, mathematician, academic, and promoter of new chronology. Dmytro Knapp, journalist, investigates corruption. Yuri Kara, Russian film director, screenwriter, and producer. Yevgeny Kaldei, Red Army naval officer and Soviet photographer. Nikita Khrushchev, Premier of the Soviet Union 1953–1964, grew up in Yuzivka. Ayakiva, Ukrainian poet, translator, journalist, critic. Valery Konovalyuk, economist and businessman. Anna Korsun, Ukrainian singer, pianist, organist, conductor, and composer. Tatyana Kravchenko, Soviet and Russian actress. Mikhail Khrushchevsky, WWI veteran who fought for the Russian Empire. Alexander Kuzymsky, Soviet and Russian theoretical physicist. Make Me Famous, English-language metalcore band. Aleksa Matsuka, Ukrainian journalist and corruption investigator. Suzana Malikian, Russian-Mexican actress. Vadim Pisarev, Ukrainian dancer and art director. Alexander Reva, stand-up comedian, TV host, and voice actor. Volodymyr Rybak, mayor of Donetsk and chairman of the Verkhovna Rada. Vladislav Ruzanov, Russian-language science fiction writer. Denis Stoff, Ukrainian musician, vocalist for Asking Alexandria. Natan Sharansky, former anti-communist, Zionist, Israeli politician, and writer. Ihor Sorkin, former head of the Ukrainian National Bank. Anatoly Solovyanenko, Soviet operatic tenor. Oleg Stefan, Soviet and Russian actor. Vasyl Stuz, Ukrainian poet and publicist and member of the dissident movement. Petro Simonenko, head of the Communist Party of Ukraine. Kirill Tolpigo, Soviet physicist, worked on condensed matter theory. Marina Tsvigun, religious sect leader, New Age movement. Viktor Yanukovych, former president of Ukraine, deposed in 2014. Pavlo Vigdorhouse, Soviet architect, monument to a minor creator. Vladimir Zakharov, Soviet composer and choir conductor. Sport. Polina Ostakhova, Ukrainian gymnast, multiple Olympic medalist. Sarai Bubka, Ukrainian pole vault athlete, gold medalist 1988 Summer Olympics. Yuri Detyryov, goalkeeper, 321 caps with Shakhtar Donetsk and 17 with the USSR. Yuri Gavrilov, volleyball player, Olympic gold medalist. Julia Glushko, Israeli tennis player. Alexander Lebziak, Russian boxer. Natalia Mamedova, Azeri volleyball player. Evgenij Miroshnichenko, Ukrainian chess player. Ilya Mate, Soviet-Ukrainian freestyle wrestler, gold medal at the 1980 Summer Olympics. Aleksa Pecherov, a Ukrainian basketball player. Lilia Podkopayeva, a Ukrainian gymnast, and the 1996 Olympic all-around champion. Sarai Rebrov, footballer with 425 club caps and 75 for Ukraine. Viktor Smirnov, Paralympic swimmer. Viktor Sidyak, fencing, First Soviet individual saber Olympic gold medal in Munich 1972. Nadia Tikakenko, Olympic gold-winning pentathlete. Oleg Tverdovsky, ice hockey player. Alexander Yagokin, 1982 World Heavyweight Amateur Boxing Champion. Oleg Verniev, gymnast, Olympic gold medalist. Museums. Donetsk is home to about 140 museums. Among them, two large regional museums, Donetsk Region History Museum and Donetsk Regional Art Museum. Donetsk Region History Museum reveals the city's true identity and covers to the entire local community, diverse as it is. Set up in 1924, it offers an extensive expo with 120,000 exhibits, from archaeological findings dating back to prehistoric times to the founding of the city by John Hughes, development of industry and coal mining, World War II and the Soviet times. On August 21, 2014, the mayor of Donetsk reported that the roof and walls of the Donetsk Regional History Museum had been destroyed by shell fire early that morning. FC Shakhtar Museum was opened in 2010. This museum was the first Ukrainian museum to be nominated for a European Museum of the Year award. Transport. Local transport. The main forms of transport within Donetsk are trams, electric trolleybuses, buses, and marshrutkas. The city's public transport system is controlled by the United Dongoropastranz Municipal Company. The city has 12 tram lines, 17 trolleybus lines, and about 115 bus lines. Both the tram and trolleybus systems in the city are served by 2 depots each. Another method of transport within the city is taxi cab service, of which there are 32 in Donetsk. The city also contains auto stations located within the city and its suburbs, Auto Station Yuzhny, which serves mainly transport lines to the south, hence its name, Auto Station Center, which serves transport in the direction of Marinka and Volodar as well as intercity transport, the Auto Station Krytai Rynok, which serves mainly transport in the north and east directions, and the Auto Station Pudilovsky, which serves mainly the north and northwest transport directions. The construction of the metro system in the city, begun in 1992, was recently abandoned due to the lack of funding. No lines or stations have been finished. Railways. Donetsk's main railway station, which serves about 7 million passengers annually, is located in the northern part of the city. There is a museum near the main station, dealing with the history of the region's railways. Other railway stations are Ruchenkovo, located in the Kievskaya rayon, Mandrykino, and Mushketovo. Some passenger trains avoid Donetsk station and serve the Yasenyevata station, located outside the city limits. Although not used for regular transport, the city also has a children's railway. As of September 2009, a new railway terminal facility to comply with UEFA requirements was planned. The Donetsk Oblast was an important transport hub in Ukraine, so was its center Donetsk. The Donetsk Railways, based in Donetsk, is the largest railway division in the republic. It serves the farming and industrial businesses of the area, and the populations of the Donetsk and Lugansk republics and parts of the Dnipropetrovsk, Zaporizhzhia, and Kharkiv oblasts. Road transport. The highway, part of the international E-road network, runs through the city en route to Rostov-on-Don in Russia. In addition, another international road runs through the city, the M04. Also, 3 national Ukrainian roads pass through the city. The construction of the 4th stage of a circular road bypassing Donetsk was to be completed in 2014. Air travel. In addition to public and rail transport, Donetsk used to have an international airport. It was constructed during the early 1940s and early 1950s. It was rebuilt in 1973 and again from 2011 to 2012. Because of fighting, the airport has been closed as of May 26, 2014, and the airport has since then largely been destroyed. The airspace above Donetsk has also been closed since the MH17 disaster. Education. Donetsk has several universities, which include 5 state universities, 11 institutes, 3 academies, 14 technicums, 5 private universities, and 6 colleges. The most important and prominent educational institutions include Donetsk National Technical University, founded in 1921, as well as the Donetsk National University, which was founded in 1937. The National Technical University held close contacts with the university in Magdeburg. Since 1970, more than 100 students from Germany have completed their higher education at either one of the 2 main universities in Donetsk. Donetsk is also the home of the Donetsk National Medical University, which was founded in 1930 and became one of the largest medical universities in the Soviet Union. There are also several scientific research institutes and an Islamic university within Donetsk. Donetsk is also the home of the Prokofiev Donetsk State Music Academy, a music conservatory founded in 1960. Twinnings. Donetsk participates in international town twinning schemes to foster good international relations. Partners include